Perfect Turd Podcast, episode 266, Lamar, The Thicket.
The Thicket, yeah. So we're back with Tubi originals. And this one is like I think they're really trying to get into like the, big grandiose movies and stuff like that.
Real movies?
Yes,
Actual movies?
I was trying to, doll it up, but yes, just real movies. And they got some star power behind this one. This is a Western, super serious, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Well, Lamar, I'm not a fan of the Western genre in general. I actually hate Westerns, but we'll talk about this one. We'll start where we always start. What do we think of the story?
Starts off with this young family. The mother and the father have died of smallpox. They're living with their grandfather. Their grandfather is actually going to take them away and all this kind of stuff. But then they are hit up by a gang led by Cutthroat Bill, which is a woman. Mm-hmm. So this is the first time I've ever seen like a evil, like Western gang led by a woman.
I think there was one, but I can't think of it.
Yeah, but she takes the sister, and then the brother enlists the help of Reginald Jones, played by Peter Dinklage. He's a gravedigger, but also has some gun fighting skills and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even though it's a Western, I didn't dislike the story. I think for me, this movie is like everything about it is really well done. Like it looks good, sounds good. For the most part, the acting is acceptable, but the sum of all those parts still comes across flat. It neither overwhelmed me, but I wasn't bored either. It was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, it didn't really knock me off my feet. It was just like, like you said, good cinematography and shot well.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, oh man, this is like one of the, a new Western for the modern audience. It's just like, okay.
What do you give it for story then?
I give it half a point.
Yeah, half point. Well, our next category is what do we think of all the characters?
There was a plethora of characters.
There was.
But I did like them. I will say that.
I was going to say, I thought Dinklage was a little underused in this film. Like, I thought they didn't give him that much to do or even say.
Was he like the, not the silent hero, but, the man of few words and big action?
I just think like when you have an actor of his caliber, like you give him something to do.
Okay.
But Juliette Lewis,
yes,
she definitely stole the show, I think.
Almost unrecognizable.
You could tell she was having like a really good time with that part too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she was going all in. Because if you think about it, like all the other roles she's played, this is like such a departure. So that was cool.
Yeah. There were some cameos in the movie, Lamar, that... Well, let me start by saying this, Lamar. One of my heroes, James Hetfield from Metallica, he was in this movie. It's hard to see one of your heroes, and he's just not doing what he's actually best at.
Well, how is he going to be in this? He can't play electric guitar in a freaking Western.
Listen, all I need from James Hetfield, if he's going to be in the movie, he's just going to go, ooh, yeah. That's it. That's what he does. I mean, that's what I was hoping he would just do that, Lamar. But he delivered some lines. They were a little on the wooden side. It broke my heart just a tiny bit.
I think your emotions are into this, Joe.
Also, Andrew Schulz was in the movie. Like, that one was weird.
He was trying things. It was just very, I don't know.
What was that accent that he was doing? Like, it was, what was that?
That's a good question. I don't know. He like you said, Juliette Lewis was having fun. Maybe he had a little bit too much.
He was definitely having fun, but someone should have told him to stop it. Like, stop having so much fun.
He was doing his best, Joe.
Okay.
Jeez. Even though it was fucking...
I mean, it wasn't wooden like James Hetfield's performance, but, he's one of my heroes, James Hetfield.
Well, okay, excluding Andrew Schulz and James Hetfield, how you feel? I feel like everybody else did very well. And stuff like that.
Everybody was really solid except for James Hetfield.
You're going to just... What do you give it, Joe?
For characters?
Yes.
If it wasn't for James Hetfield, I would have given it a 1. But since he disappointed me, I'm giving it half point.
I'm giving it a 1, Joe.
Okay.
Jesus.
Well, our next category, Lamar, is what do we think of the action in the movie?
I think like with Westerns, things are a little bit slower and stuff like that, but I enjoyed it.
I mean, there was action scenes. There wasn't a lot of action,
No.
but there was a lot of shooting and killing.
Mm-hmm.
James Hetfield got shot, and he died. And see, when he died, he went ah, and that's what he does. Like that's what he does good. He's like when he goes yeah, he's good at that. So his death scene wasn't bad. There's other scenes not so much, but no, I mean it's as much action as I would expect from a western.
Yeah, it's I think with westerns, it's kind of like about the journey, and then the action kind of like rounds everything out and stuff like that.
I'll give it a 1 for action.
Agreed. 1.
Yeah. Well, our next category is Wild Wild West, Lamar, the use of the western gimmick or genre.
This fits into it. We talked about the characters, we talked about the action. It just has more of a cold cinematography because it is in the winter and stuff like that, but it still fits it. And one thing I do like about westerns is like with characters, they look like more realistic people. Like I don't know how to like Juliette Lewis. She looked like they were like makeup. And just send her
I think
out
they
there.
like put some prosthetics on her, no?
Yeah, but I'm just talking about like they didn't doll her up.
Oh yeah.
They don't doll people up a lot in westerns. Except when they're in
Whores.
Yeah, that's it. But everybody else just has this very I don't know if you call it grunge, but a very harsh look, which adds to the movie. So I like that.
Yeah, and like you said, it had all the kind of tropes, I guess, of a western. What do you give it for West?
I give it a 1, Joe.
I'm going to give it a 0.5 point, Lamar.
Why, Joe?
Because in the movie, in westerns, they always deputize somebody. And in this movie, they deputized James Hetfield, which gave him more lines to say. So for that, I give it a 0.5 point. But our next category is Tubi movies. This is a Tubi original, and we're ranking this amongst the other echelon of Tubi originals.
Now, Joe, we starting out watching Tubi movies have been what's beneath let down, just scarred because some of them have been bad.
Yeah.
But then they're starting to, get a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they're on the right path. The only thing I'm scared of is that they're playing it a little too safe. This movie, I feel like they're getting into, okay, we're letting, directors kind of, do their own thing, have their own vision, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Amongst the Tubi movies, at least the ones we've seen, this is like probably the best looking, had like everything was together in this. It was a well-made movie with the exception of James Hetfield being in the movie. Like that was not a good decision. Other than that, this is the best Tubi movie I think we've seen.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What do you give it for Tubi?
I give it 1, Joe.
Well, I'm going to give it 1 point, Lamar. I think it is the best Tubi movie we've seen, so I'll give it 1 point. What did you think I was going to give it?
I didn't know what you were going to say. I thought you were going to say, something about your hero, James Hetfield.
Yeah, he was in the movie. What's the big deal?
Nah, nothing.
Okay. Well, Lamar, we've tallied the score, and this movie gets a 4 out of 5.
I think, this movie is like a decent Western. It's not the greatest Western in the world, but it's like a decent one. Nice little watch if you're chilling out, with some friends and family. Tubi is they're trying to come up in the world, Joe.
Well, they should have named this movie The Thicket, Outlaw Torn.
Outlaw Torn?
Yeah, that's a Metallica song. The Outlaw Torn. The Thicket, Enter Sandman. The Thicket, Sad but True.
Would you like a Metallica Western movie, Joe?
No, I would not like that.
Not after this.
No, exactly. Well, I'm saying if you're going to put him in the movie, you should do that. You know what they should have made it? They should have had him play a part where he's just strumming a guitar like in a saloon or something. That would have made more sense.
Yes. Okay. I'll give you that.
Was that wrap it up then, Lamar?
It does.
All right. The Thicket. Peace.
Deuces.
Yeah. See, that's what he does. Yeah.
Yeah.